live. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Daniel Umstead. I am the owner of the Robert Nathaniel Group. And if you're joining us today, thank you so much. And if you haven't already, since you are joining us today, there's a little box icon right here. If you can click on that to subscribe to the channel. So now if you're joining me Facebook Live, because I do this every morning through the Robert Nathaniel Group, please, by all means, thank you again. So without further ado, so if this is your very first time and it's like, who's this guy? I heard a couple things about who's this guy. So my name is Daniel Umstead. Typically on this channel, I go over resume writing tips, realtor tips, and start off with some motivation for you. What you are part of is a 10-day series. We are now up to day 5. Day 5, in which we're going over the Pareto principle. Now, I just hit you with a lot. The Pareto principle. Well, let me tell you what it is. The Pareto principle states that for many events, roughly 80% of the effects come from 20% of the causes. So, breaking it down in simpler terms, when you're looking at an hour, saying that, an hour working on something, technically only 16 minutes of that hour is actually going to produce the 80% of your results. Even though you think like, no, I'm busy, I'm focused, this is what I'm doing. And this goes back to sales, this goes back to conditioning, this goes back to sports, pretty much anything, practically everything applicable. The more concentrated that you have on a certain item or certain task, will get you the results that you're looking for, or 80% of the results that you're looking for with the 20% effort. So today, for the Pareto principle, I wanted to talk about planning ahead. Now, I know I've been discussing about skills. I know I've been discussing about, prioritizing tasks, the planning ahead, because today I'm going to tell you how you can get 8,000% return on your investment. So for my math folks and non-math folks, 100% return on investment would be that, hey, I gave $10. Guess what? I'm going to get $10 back. 1,000% return on investment. Hey, I'm giving $10 away. I got $100 back. How did this happen? So I'm going to show how that works with, sorry about that, guys. I'm going to show how that works with actual time when you do plan ahead. So the example that I give is planning for a wedding. So let's say you're planning for a wedding, and the item or task that needs to be done is calling the balloon company and making sure the balloons are ready. Now, this balloon task only takes 10 minutes. So, and you have it listed down. You're like, oh, yeah, this will be fine. I'll be okay. It's on the checklist. It's in front of me. How many times have you said that? Oh, it's in front of me. There's no way that I can miss it. No, it does. So planning ahead, mark it down on the calendar. Even if you said to yourself, hey, between 1 p.m. and 1:10 p.m., this is when I'm going to call the balloon company, and this is when I'm going to schedule the balloons, and be good to go. So it's the day of the wedding. And I know what you're thinking. Who called the balloon company? Who set up the balloons again? I think... No, they were taking care. Morning, another wedding. It's my little R&B. But no, on a serious note, you're planning for a big day, a big event. And you're like, let me double check something. You go to the checklist of the balloons, and balloons haven't gotten done. Oh my gosh, panic is going to be insane. So you're trying to call the balloon company. Balloon company is not available on a Saturday morning. You're reaching out to Party City. You might even have to go by the dollar store and everything like that, because you need these balloons. Mind you, that 10 minutes has now turned into 100 minutes, because, just on average, I'm not saying it takes forever to get balloons, but I want you to put in the concept, how many times have you put something off or said like, oh my gosh, I forgot to schedule this, and it turns into something longer than it's supposed to be, or maybe not even the full 100 minutes, maybe it's an hour, that you get caught up with your time. The thing about it is that, it's actually more than the 100 minutes, because even though that task right then and there need to be caught up every single time that you had reminded yourself, every single time that it became a second or afterthought, builds up to that time where it's 100 minutes. So you're losing 1,000% return on investment. How do you get that back? Dan, you told me I was going to get 1,000% return on investment with my time. How do I get that back? You plan ahead the 10 minutes that you need to take to get what you need to get done in regards to balloons. So, and you're like, but Dan, I got so many things going on. Hey, listen, I'm not telling you that everything is going to be perfect. I'm not trying to tell you that even when you do set it up, that, hey, you know what? Okay, Dan, I like your style. You know what? Tomorrow, 1 o'clock, between 1 and 1:10, I'm going to order me some balloons. I'm going to be ready and prioritize. Things may come up at 1 o'clock. You could have an emergency at 1 o'clock. You might have to push your 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock. The whole thing about it is that you're planning ahead. That's what you need to look at. Because a lot of people, we just go through this life and you schedule yourself, or I'm sorry, your schedule has already been set for you. For the most part, some people get up at 6 a.m., 7 a.m., they're usually out the door. 8 o'clock, they get to work. 8:30 is their usual breakfast time. 9 o'clock is their first meeting. 9:30 is their second meeting. 10:15 they need to make us, another conference call. After that, 10:30 is their first break. Then an hour and a half of work. 12 o'clock is the lunch. 5 o'clock hits, they're out the door. So it's like, your schedule could be done for you. Or if you actually look at your whole day, you could be like, you know what? Maybe I could pull 10 minutes out to do this. You know what? I always wanted to learn more about the Pareto principle. Maybe I could spend 5 minutes and throw up YouTube real quick. You know what? I really got to get back into this real estate. Maybe I need to just set 5 minutes apart and listen to some tips on investment strategies for real estate. So these all come into play when you prioritize, when you plan ahead with things that you're trying to accomplish, things that you're trying to achieve, things that you're trying to gain on. So, take that into reality where you're like, okay, all right, I know what I got to do, and I know how I could plan ahead and get there. So, that is my motivation. So 1,000% return on investment means requiring planning ahead, even if it is going to take 10 minutes. Now, if you got something that's going to take an hour, find a way to fit an hour, or you can break up that hour, 10 minutes, if your task is possible to break it up in between that time. So, my relative tip of the day for you is actually both for these buyers, and it is also for the realtors and real estate agents. You need to determine, as a buyer, not so much how many properties that you're looking to do. That's not personal, completely different episode. But you need to look to see how many properties that you're looking to go through to get to that one. Some may be unlimited. Some buyers maybe say like, no, I'm gonna keep going until I find it. Your realtor, on the other hand, might be like, oh no, I'll stop at 10. I don't know what he's thinking. I got things to do. So I don't know where she's coming up with. We going past 10. So that item needs to be established. Now, if you're a brand new agent, and especially if you got that good rapport with that buyer, hey, just run its course. Run its course, because you're going to learn so much about you. In addition, you're going to learn so much about your buyer as well. Like, hey, it's like, okay, we're on the 100th property. And then it might just click in there like, 100th property. We're looking at the 100th property. Are you serious? And we haven't bought anything yet? So, but if you know that, hey, this guy or this gal is really serious about getting into the investment game, all right, you know what? We're going to do this for the long haul. So that understanding needs to be played out for both of y'all. Now, I'm not saying that you got to treat it like an ultimatum, like, hey, you know what, Miss Williams, when we get to 25 properties, I'm canceling this contract because I'm going to be done. Because how many times, it's similar to being in a casino. You keep pulling the lever, nothing goes through. Keep pulling the lever, nothing goes through. Keep pulling the lever, nothing goes through. And then some people give up. The real estate game is not like that. You know, if you keep showing homes, guess who becomes an expert at showing homes? If you keep running comps, guess who becomes an expert at running comps? If you keep having to send out offers, guess who's an expert at sending out offers? In addition, you got to think too, okay, the properties that you're looking at, maybe they're not good for you or for you and your buyer, but now you got some crux to be like, might not be good for them, but maybe I could find somebody else to match up with it since I already ran the comps on it. And that actually happened to me last week. Yeah, last week I had looked at a property, did the comps on it, did everything in the world on it, and I had somebody else who was potentially interested, and speaking of which, let me follow up with them. But I had somebody who was potentially interested in the property, and they're like, oh yeah, and they're just asking me questions back to back. And the benefit that I had, instead of me saying, like, oh yeah, I can run the comps on it for you, or I can help you out, it was just a matter of like, oh yeah, I already ran the comps on it. There you go. So that's the benefit there in regards to doing it. And then my resume writing tip of the day. I had, this is actually true story. So I did a podcast, I want to say about a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, on Fair Average a couple of weeks ago. And I had told people, I said, hey, listen, if you are tuned in right now, or if you're checking this out later, and you want me to look at your resume, just mention The Loop, which is a friend of mine's channel. So if you haven't already, join The Loop. You know, she interviews a lot of interesting people, and I believe she's almost up to 1,000 people right now. Or by the time you're looking at this video, you're like, damn, she's at 10,000 people. So, but yeah, I had said that, giving out free resume writing tips, for you to review. So I had told her, I'm like, hey, everything looks great on the resume, just needs to be adjusted with the job duties. But for a full revision, I do charge $49, or this was the crazy part, or if you got 10 minutes, crazy how that 10 minutes comes back, right? If you have 10 minutes, we could definitely just walk over your resume. Because my goal is, and if you haven't already seen it and heard it, my goal is to create 1 million millionaires. So people, that are high stakes. And Uncle G, I kind of got it from Uncle G, Grant Cardone, Dan Locke, and all them. But my whole thing is, I'm like, okay, that's cool. I want to talk to 1 million people. I want to help 1 million people. I want to help so many people. No. I want to create 1 million millionaires. All right, so, and it's going to be happening day by day. But hey, with the resume writing tip, if you haven't already picked it up, call me, 267-702-3756. I'd be more than happy to do a free revision on your resume. And then, like I said, if it's something that is strenuous, that needs to be fully looked at, by all means, I'll definitely charge you the $49. But if it's something that, hey, let's pick this out over the phone, we can set up a conference call or a call to go over everything as far as what you need to fix and go forward from there. And then even with the tips, you could just Google or check out YouTube on how to put a resume together. So my name is Daniel Umstead. I'm again with the Robert Nathaniel Group. And as always, stay blessed, my fellow millionaires.
Fleslet on the beat.